Hello everyone, welcome back. Now we're going to work with Jiyoung Noh, the first movement of the Dvořák Concerto. Thank you. Let's begin. Thank you very much. Unfortunately, I mean, I wish I could hear until the end because it's really bravo, beautifully played and incredibly well played. Bravo, very, very, very high level. We have our time limit, so if you don't mind, let's work thus far, yeah? Mm-hmm. Okay. You know this piece very well, and what are the main difficulties for you while playing this concerto? I mean, there are many, many difficulties, but what are the first difficulties for you to really internalize the concerto? You know, when I call internalize the concerto, is to really fully absorb the concerto so that you live every single note of the piece, you know? Now, what are the difficulties for you? Everyone has different difficulties, but I want to know what Jiyoung's difficulties are.
I think first one is the intonation.
Intonation? It was nearly flawless. It was very good. Okay, so well done, yes. And second?
Yeah. And the technique.
Technique? Well, it was also nearly flawless. So very well done, yes.
And I think the imagination.
Imagination, yeah, that could have been better, yeah, okay. And then?
For the, I have to know very well the score of the orchestra.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I think that's a very important aspect of playing this concerto, yeah? Okay. And then something else? Okay. No, your answers are all correct. They're all very good, very valid answers. Your intonation was very, very high level, so you can start prioritizing other aspects. Technique, again, part of the intonation was also very good. So let's think of something a little bit broader. Let's work on something that, because I'm not here to tell you what you've done well. I'm here to tell you what you should be doing better in the future, okay? And I think it's very important, not only for Jiyoung, for all cellists out there playing this magnificent concerto. It's extremely important to understand the structure of the piece. What Dvořák has written, he has written different tempi, and that's the difficult part, okay? The beginning is quasi improvisando risoluto. Already that is contradicting quasi improvisando risoluto. So after that you have in tempo vivo. Dim taka taka dum digi 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 dim. Okay?
Yeah.
And after that you have the second theme.
Appassionato.
La mi re si re la. Yeah? And then after that you have the transition which with this flute. Yeah? The transition going into the development, yeah? The development starts with yeah? He puts yet another tempo, which is exactly the same tempo marking that he puts for the second theme, 100, right? So the initial in tempo that he writes is what? 116, right?
Yeah.
Have you know this piece by memory, but have you noticed the differences? Have you tried 116 versus 110?
Yeah, when I in practice.
In the practice,
Yes.
yeah. Okay. So after you start the development is a poco animato, which the oboe is starting. Yeah. Flute and oboe, but oboe and flute are playing this piece animato, which I would go back to 160 nearly. Otherwise, one does not feel the animato. Okay?
Yeah.
And after you've just finished now, the end of the development, recapitulation does not go back to the first theme, but it goes straight into the second theme. Yeah? Because much of the development is based on the first theme. Okay? So, now that you have a very clear understanding of what structure Dvořák is asking, it's much clearer for you to perform. As you go from section to section, you're able to completely absorb the concerto and really express the way you understand it.
Okay.
Okay? Your answers were very valid. Technical aspect was very high level. Intonation was very, very high level. But to really convince the audience with this concerto is to really understand the structure and knowing where you're about. Okay?
Okay.
That's super, super important. Okay, everyone, please look up the scores and understand the different tempo markings that Dvořák left on his score. Okay? So, for me, personally, this entry, when we enter after this magnificent tutti of the orchestra, when we enter, what key do we enter? This is B minor concerto, yeah? It's very clear for everyone.
Yeah.
But when we enter, it has this major, B major color. It has to be a surprise. All along we hear the tutti B minor and then the D major second theme, which the horn solo is intoxicatingly beautiful. And yet we enter and then we begin this concerto with maggiore character. You see? Yeah. And that has to be a grandioso. Okay, now let's talk about the difficult part. Improvvisando risoluto. How do you deal with this?
I can play very prontito.
Yeah, you can take time. Yeah,
Yeah,
you can take time. But where should you take time? Because he demands a risoluto. Risoluto is something resolute. Résolu. Something that you're determined. Yeah? So, one of the most important aspects in Dvořák music generally is his rhythm. We must have extremely precise rhythm while playing Dvořák.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay.
So, cello, bass, the rhythm, P, pa pa pam, P, pa pa pam. That's going to give a risoluto. Do you agree?
Yeah.
And what's going to give improvvisando?
The first note.
No. Maybe in between. Dim pa pa pi, bim pa pa pi, lam pa rim pa dam pam pim pam. So if you have both risoluto improvvisando, it should be something spontaneous. So sometimes you're declamatory. Dim pa pa bim. Li la da da, lam pa bing. I think there's really ample space for us to play in between movements, little space so that we have this improvisando character in between the bars. And yet, when we're playing the notes, to have real risoluto character. Shall we try that?
Okay.
Yeah? Let's let's imagine this. Okay, so Jiyoung, it's again very high level. Lam pa pa pi ti pa pa pa. You must be very aware of the celli when they give pits, so that you really feel ti pa pa pam. Okay. After this, in tempo, lam ta ga ga ding digi 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 lam pa ga ga dam. First time we actually hear in B minor resembling to the theme. So this is the in tempo, first time when we're going to hear. Okay?
Yes.
After this, for the first time we're actually really playing the tune. Yeah? So that has to be rhythmically super precise. Dim, pa, pa, pam. Especially under the oboe ostinato. La, ram, pa, ram, pa, ram, pa, ram, pi, pa, pa, pi, li, pa, pa, pi. Okay? And now the transition leading into the second theme, way too many recordings are out there which are retarding too soon, in my opinion. They're fantastic recordings. However, this transition should be transiting. Just transiting, please. Just going into the gorgeous second theme. Just that. Can you sing your wishful tempo for that passage, please? Sing the second theme for me. Okay, play that theme for me. Just there. Okay, beautiful. I love this. I love this tempo. I love that tempo. Yeah. Compared to what you did earlier, how different is it?
I was so slow.
Yeah. Bravo. You fell into the trap because the transition was too slow. Because the transition was slowing down, therefore, the arrival of D major, it had sunken in. Make sure to understand that when there's a transition, the French call un petit pont, just a little bridge, le pont. It has to be only linking the main theme exposition to second theme, okay? And not slowing down so much is going to help you to find the right tempo in the second movement, okay? So, structure-wise, opening is very near to the second theme tempo.
Okay.
Because he writes in tempo at the bar, what bar is that, Jiyoung? Bar number 107, 8, 9, 10. 110, sorry, that he writes in tempo. Therefore, for me, the risoluto improvvisando should be about at the second theme tempo. Then we understand what the first in tempo, which is bar 110, rehearsal letter D, please. Okay? And then second theme, okay? Can we try to have this very clearly so that we understand the structure of the first move of the Dvořák?
Okay.
This is, I think, probably one of the greatest concerto ever written for any instruments. And I think not only cellists would agree, but most of the conductors and most of other instrumentalists would agree. But in order to really understand and express the concerto, it's very important to understand the structure, both harmonic and construction structure. Okay? Right. So let's try the very beginning in tempo.
Okay.
Okay, now I would like to have the surprise because he ends still in somehow, we think we're in the minor, but can I have a little bit more of D sharp, which should be really radiant, rayonnant, radiant and showing, haha. I like to have more of that. Yeah.
Okay.